Hello, anyone joining us live on YouTube right now? Welcome, Carol, and good morning,
Hi.
everyone. We're also live streaming on YouTube, and just want to give us a moment to check in, settle in, and in another minute or two, we'll go into our meditation. Meanwhile, I welcome everyone to spend a moment thinking about things in the more than human world that bring you joy. What is it that when you see it or hear it or smell it or feel it, you can pause and just say, thank you. Thank you, nature. Thank you, world. Maybe it's the scent of a specific flower. Maybe it's the feel of a cool, heavy fog against your skin. Maybe it's the way the light comes through the leaves of the trees. Whatever that is, just hold on to that for a moment. Really take that in. And let yourself recognize that this may be an expression of the way that the whole universe loves you, the way that the whole universe loves everything, and that you are part of that everything. This is one of our most important gratitude practices, to really allow ourselves just to open to the possibility that we are part of this universal network of profound love. Welcome, Summer. Good to
Good
see you.
morning.
So we were just starting out for a moment, tapping into love, connection, and gratitude with the more than human world. So finding that thing that really, it could be a small thing. It doesn't have to be huge, but something that when you go out into nature or just when you think about it, it fills you with delight and awe and wonder. And just to hold that image, whatever it is, your favorite scent on the breeze, the way the clouds catch the light, just hold that sensory experience. And then open yourself to the possibility that this is an expression of the way the universe is in love with itself. And we're a part of that love that permeates everything. And so when you find something that stirs your heart or takes your breath away, you're connecting with that universal experience of love. Now, if you'd like, Carol and Summer, I invite you to share what that image is that's up for you right now, that brings you to that space of gratitude.
I'll say the light that pours through the trees, and you see these beautiful rays, and how they make the leaves and the ground seem to sparkle. It just is like, it's the life of the universe. The sun is the light and the life, and just gives life to everything. So I love it. It makes me high just seeing it in my mind's eye.
Beautiful.
Mm. Thank you.
For me,
Mm-hmm.
it's how the sun feels on my face when it's warm, but not too warm, of course. Although I can't let it do that very much unless I have sunscreen on.
Well, remember, self-care is part of the way that we take care of the world.
Yes.
So being aware of that, it's part of why we do practices like these meditations. It's not just for us. We're taking care of us because we are an integral part of nature. We are part of how the world is trying to function right now.
It's hard to remember that sometimes.
It is. It is. Our culture in particular, I think, deliberately works to pull us away from that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so part of the work of doing good in the world is just to overcome that and to say, yes, taking care of me is part of how I am serving the whole world.
Yes.
You just gave me a vision of like adopt a highway, how we just take care of that one part of the highway. We're this one part of the universe that we're taking care of. So
Adopt a
it's our
me.
response.
Yes,
Adopt.
absolutely.
Adopt yourself.
Yes. You are an adorable animal and
Yeah.
sure.
Extra fuzzy today, too, I
Yes.
have to say. Uh,
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you all so much for being here. I'm not sure how many folks we have on the YouTube live because it's too much for me to keep track of all at once. So we're just going to go ahead and kind of move into the presentation that will lead us into meditation. And again, this will probably be about a half-hour meditation, give or take. And then there'll be some time to for those on the Zoom call to talk about what we're experiencing. So I'm going to go back into share screen and we can get started here. So we're holding this meditation to celebrate the waxing moon, this moon that is growing fuller every day. And it's right about at the halfway point. So we're seeing one side of the moon in light and the other side of the moon in shadow right now. The way that we see the phases of the moon have to do with the relative positions of our planet, this beautiful round satellite that orbits us, and the great beautiful sun that we orbit. So you can think about the moon orbiting the earth, creating this kind of spiral path as the earth is moving around the sun. And the sun is actually moving around the galaxy. So there's another spiral in which we're embedded. And we don't know that much about the way the galaxies are moving, other than we do know that they're in motion. But in this grand sweep of billions of years, it's this incredible dance that we're a part of. And the way that we see the light changing across the face of the moon reminds us of this dance. So the phase of the moon is something that we experience as a planetary species. It's true for everyone in the world. If they're looking up at the moon today, later on tonight, what they're going to see is this moon that is divided right down the middle, half in light and half in shadow. And tomorrow it will be a little bit more in light than shadow, and the next day more and more until we arrive at the full moon. So it is a reminder that we are united on one planet, part of one world. And some of how we express that in Nova Sutras is through these terms agaya and ubuntu. So for those who aren't familiar, agaya is a new term formed by the merger of Gaia, this scientific understanding we have that the entire living world is interconnected and actively evolving and co-creating conditions that let ever more complex and beautiful life emerge. That's the Gaia theory in science. There's a lot of carefully documented scientific evidence that backs up that the only way that life happens is through the action of other life. The only way that we get to complex and beautiful things like trees and geese and spider webs is because of the action of all of the other life on earth. And we see that as an expression of love, and that's the other term, agape, that is part of our word agaya. So recognizing that the way that life interacts and creates conditions for beauty is an expression of the love that is intrinsic to the universe, this transcendent, omnipresent love. The other word that we use is a term that comes from languages in Southern Africa, ubuntu. Ubuntu is this recognizing of the way that humans are only humans because of the communities that we create. We are completely dependent on the care and work and support of other humans. But this is true again throughout the living world. This is how Gaia operates. So not only do humans need other humans to nurture and tend and support and help us out when we can't quite do it. All of nature works under those principles. The flowering plants may be the greatest expression of this, where they've decided that the very core of life, their reproduction, they're handing off to other species. They depend on pollinators to allow them to conceive and create the next generation. Many trees depend on animals as seed dispersers. Forests only happen in the presence of a large and complex population of different animal species in addition to all of the plants. You don't get a forest with no animals in it. So when we talk about Ubuntu, we're talking about this way that life interacts and is there in support of other life. So to begin our meditation, we're going to do this practice that we refer to as calling the corners. And the way we work with this in Nova Sutras is not so much an inviting in, although that's always present, but also a sending out, sending our wishes for well-being out from our center, offering it into the world as a gift. So as we go through the compass directions, up and down, and then we'll start from where we are and move outward. We are locating ourselves. We are sort of finding our spiritual address in relationship to all of these other beings that surround us. So as we move through this, I invite you to really try and envision what's out in that direction. What does that area encompass? What are the other beings that I share this life with in these spaces? So that you can really find and feel those connections and send that love and wonder and commitment to care for one another that we express as agaya and ubuntu. So where I am on the western edge of the continent known as Turtle Island or North America, it's morning here. So I'm going to start in the direction of the sun in the east and move around from there. As we do this, if you want to be in silent meditation, that's fine. But if you want to get up and face the different directions or just turn your head and speak to them and say, may you abide in agaya and ubuntu as we go around. Just saying agaya and ubuntu out loud might help you deepen this practice. So I invite you to do that if it feels comfortable. So here we go. May all beings to the east abide in agaya and ubuntu. May all beings to the south abide in agaya and ubuntu. May all beings to the west abide in agaya and ubuntu. May all beings to the north abide in agaya and ubuntu. May all beings above abide in agaya and ubuntu. May all beings below abide in agaya and ubuntu. May each one of us, where we are in this world, abide in agaya and ubuntu. May all the beings near each of us abide in agaya and ubuntu. May all the beings in our watersheds abide in agaya and ubuntu. May all the beings in our bioregion abide in agaya and ubuntu. May all the beings on our landmass, our island or our continent, may they abide in agaya and ubuntu. May all the beings in the world's great oceans that surround us abide in agaya and ubuntu. And may all beings belonging to Earth's beautiful, bountiful, beneficent biosphere abide in agaya and ubuntu. So now, feeling that gift of love and connection radiating out from you, I invite you to settle in and really feel the weight of your body. Feel how it is pulled by the earth beneath you and then is held and supported as if being drawn into a loving embrace from the earth. Feel the way that the earth is a thing on which we depend, and the way the earth is saying, you can always depend on me. I am always here. I am always holding you. Now feel your breath. Feel the air moving in and out of you. And recognize that the dance of this moving air connects you with all life on earth, all sharing this atmosphere that we are co-creating. The way that the generosity of the trees and grasses, of the algae and the cyanobacteria in the oceans are generously creating oxygen that fills us up, that brings inside of us this fire of life. And that as we exhale, these same amazing green photosynthesizing beings are taking up our carbon, are doing the work, all that they can do to help heal and balance the planet, to help create conditions for life. Allow yourself to feel this as an expression of the care and love that is all around us. And just as we receive so much care and love, we take it in and then we send it back out, changed into our own expressions of care and love with every breath. Agaya and ubuntu flowing through us, into us and out of us. This time of the waxing moon, it reminds us that all of these beings are helping us to grow, are helping us to move forward into the world. They are giving us what we need to thrive and to create, to do the work so that other beings may thrive and create. And so as we watch the moon grow brighter and fuller, what is it inside of us that we want to grow brighter and fuller as well? What are we feeling that's on its way in, that's wanting to emerge, that's starting to grow? And feel the way the growing light of the moon, a little bit more each day, helps give us the momentum to grow. It's like it's putting the wind in our sails. And as long as we hold our sails up, we can move in the direction that we should be moving. And right about now, we are also at that point where the moon is precisely showing us a face that is half illuminated by the sun and half in shadow. This balance between light and dark. So that reflected sunlight from the moon can be a reminder, what does it take for us to be in balance right now? How are we served by the mixture of light and shadow in our lives? How does this great spiral dance of moon and earth and sun remind us that balance is a dynamic thing? It's not stillness. It's staying in motion in a way that helps us be steady and move forward in the directions we want to move forward. Nothing is static. Nothing is the same from moment to moment. Whether it's light or shadow, it's always changing. So the balance we need is an active, dynamic thing. Life is all about responding to the changes around us, using those to create our own changes. And as the light of the moon grows night by night, what is it that we wish to have illuminated for us, so that we may see our path forward more clearly, even in the dark? This is what the waxing moon offers us now. That things will be more and more visible. When we look up and see the moon half illuminated by the sun, half in shadow, the moon is looking back at the earth, seeing us half illuminated in the sun and half in shadow. I invite you to think about that view of the earth. Think about the way the earth turns, so that every day different things are experiencing a transition from light into darkness and back into light. And yet, it's always just half of the earth touched by the sun and half in shadow. At the higher latitudes, the length of our days changes with the seasons. And here in the north, that means our nights are getting longer. But just as our nights get longer, the days in the south get longer. There's balance so that things are staying half in light and half in shadow. Think of that beautiful half-lit earth and all the beings in it experiencing all of these changes and transformations, staying in balance, inviting them to experience and be a part of this agaya and ubuntu, the way that life expresses itself. All the people, all the bees, all the hermit crabs, all the ferns, all the spruce trees, all the daffodils, everything in this global network of agaya and ubuntu, all of us together in this incredible dance of change. I invite you to take a few nice deep breaths, just feeling those connections of agaya and ubuntu circulating into you, radiating out from you, weaving the whole world together. May each one of us be ever more effective agents for agaya and ubuntu in the world. May each one of us have opportunities to participate in co-creating a world that recognizes and is filled with agaya and ubuntu at every turn. Remember, all of these beings all around the world, in their own ways, are creating what you need to experience agaya and ubuntu, to be more effective as an agent for positive change in the world. We're all in this together. We're all helping one another. We're all sharing love and connection, ubuntu and agaya. I invite you to feel that filling your heart space as the air fills your lungs. I invite you to feel that ubuntu and agaya moving from your core up into your head, down into your hips, out from your shoulders, into your arms, into your wrists and hands, out to your fingertips, down from your legs, your ankles, your feet, your toes, as if rooted into the planet through agaya and ubuntu, and receiving that energy of ubuntu and agaya back into yourself so that you can become even more rooted. Start to let your body move just a little bit now in that dancing energy of ubuntu and agaya, moving through you, wiggling your fingers and toes, your hands and feet, your arms and legs, moving up and down your spine, moving your neck and head. Let your body settle one more time, embraced by the love, the agaya and ubuntu of our whole planet. And when you're ready, very gently come back to where you are. Open your eyes and look out at the amazing place on earth where you are right now, in all the beauty that surrounds you every day. So I want to thank you for sharing in this practice at this time of the waxing moon, to really connect in with agaya and ubuntu. Thank you for doing this work towards wellness and awareness. Thank you for taking care of yourself. And thank you for all the work that you do in large and small ways to take care of all beings on this planet as an agent of agaya and ubuntu. Remember that if this experience was helpful for you, it might be helpful for others. Try to think about who else might benefit from participating in a practice like this, and invite them to join us in this or other Nova Sutras events. I want to tell you a little bit about things that are coming up for Nova Sutras in the coming week. We have our regular Monday and Thursday open discussions in difficult times. You can drop in on any one of those at 11:30 Pacific time. Next week on Wednesday, we'll have an event to help us deal with our experiences of pain for the world, our personal experiences of grief and anxiety, of rage or despair. in a loving community that will talk through and support one another. So we call these catharsis and celebration conversations. And the next one, we have them every month on the last Wednesday of the month at 3:00. So that's coming up this week. Thursday afternoon, we'll do an introduction to focusing practice, which is another kind of practice related to meditation that really helps us develop awareness for self-care by checking in with the parts of our intelligence and awareness that aren't usually part of our consciousness, that aren't part of our rational and verbal mind. Our next moon meditation is going to be offered next Friday afternoon, just before the full moon. That happens actually Saturday morning locally. The following week, those of you in the United States are probably aware, is the day of the election. And we'll be doing special daily connecting and centering on the days that we don't have open discussions. So on election day, November 3rd, and then the following day, the 4th, then Thursday we'll have the discussions in difficult times. And then Friday we'll have another connect and center. And these are probably just going to be a half hour or 45 minutes. The first half, just checking in with each other, what's up, how we're doing, that opportunity to share and be heard. And then the second half will be a brief guided meditation to help us center whatever's going on. Nova Sutras has 8 major events to celebrate kind of the changing seasons and how those are experienced globally. So our next one is the cross quarter, the midpoint between the September equinox and the December solstice. So that happens Saturday the 7th at 2:30 in the afternoon Pacific time. You can always support our work by going to the Nova Sutras website, where you can find out about ways to support us financially through Patreon or donations via PayPal, or becoming a Nova Sutras uplifter and helping do this work of spreading agaya and ubuntu in the world. The website is also the place where you can subscribe to our newsletters, read our blog, find out about other events, and find recordings of guided meditations. We're also on most of the usual social media channels, as well as having some guided meditations available freely on the Insight Timer app. So again, thank you for joining us for this waxing moon meditation. And if you'd like to stay on, we'll have a little bit of time for conversation now. So thanks and welcome back. Is anything up for you? Anything you want to share, either from your experiences or where you're going next?
I'll say that was really an awesome idea, when you took us into the idea of balance, and that balance, while it's always like with the moon that we think we're seeing just half the moon dark and half the moon light, or like the earth, we see light and then we see dark, but it's always moving from light to dark. So balance moves, because I always just think of balance as just the centered thing, but it's always moving. And just like us sometimes, or even with partnership is what was coming up too. Sometimes one person in partnership holds it all. So we're like, carrying it. And then the other person is like, so it's almost like one person's in the light, oh, it's all on me. And one person's in the dark, like, oh, it's not about me. So also this balance between partnership, so that sometimes it's not always just 50-50. So just all these different references of balance and how it's just totally opened me up to the idea that it's not always just 50-50. There's always a shifting of the balance. But in the bigger cosmic thing, there's always balance, because there's still a partnership where it's 50-50, no matter what. So, like I'm 50% of the partnership, even though I'm not showing up at all today. So that was really very enlightening and revealing. So that was fun. And of course, I love it. Your voice is perfect for meditation. You take me there. So thank you so much.
Ah, wow. It's so wonderful to get to share this time with you, and to be developing these practices with this community. I'm really honored, and you went places with that would never have occurred to me. But yes, of course, that's absolutely what's going on in relationships. It can't be static, and it's not always going to look like it's even. But yeah, it's that balance will show up over time. Everything is always in motion. So yeah, that's really helpful for me where I am right now too. So I thank you so much for bringing that. That means a lot. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Mhm. So
And I know this, I don't think this was during the meditation, but when you were going through the Ubuntu and Agaya, and how the world is always evolving, and even the little algae, and is giving us air that's helping us to breathe, and every little thing matters. The pollinators, how if it wasn't for the pollinators, the world would not be as beautiful as it is. So many different foods and flowers and smells and colors, and it's just these little pollinator creatures that are doing all of this. And how birds just eat a seed and then go poop over there, and the
yeah.
next thing you know, there's a tree over there. It's like all of this was created by just the smallest, tiniest, most precious little beings, and yet we think we're so special as humans.
We are
I
no
mean, we are.
less special than redwood trees or mushrooms
Mhm,
or algae. Yeah.
mhm,
Um,
mhm. Yeah, and I hope we really understand our place in life, because I mean, to think like we're above it all is just so silly. I mean, it all came before us even. So how come, we're an evolution of what's here already. It's like, and hopefully there's something better, or at least smarter, coming down the pipes, more. Because I think the animals in some ways, like Coco, I think, was that her name? The gorilla, I think her
gorilla
name.
that was taught sign language, and yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh,
she's like, hurry, please wake up. Like, you are nature, you're a flower. Like, be smart. Oh, she was just such a tender being.
yeah.
And it seems like they know so much more than us. Like they remember the simple stuff that we forget and take for granted. So gratitude and for the little things is so important. It keeps the big things going.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
part of why I'm really excited about uh, one of our allies, Kendon, who Summer, I think you met yesterday, maybe for the first time, but he's going to take us through this focusing practice. And part of what it does is it gets us in touch with that intelligence that is present in all animals,
Mm.
but isn't part of our, humans got to figure things out and talk about things brain.
Mm.
because there is this incredible intelligence that's present in so many beings, us included, that came way before we started, building all this elaborate stuff on top of it to become humans. And part of where we're struggling and why we hurt so much right now is that we forget how to listen to all of the rest of that wisdom that we still carry and is still trying to talk to us. But our busy human brains kind of, override it. We make too much noise and we can't hear that deeper wisdom. So we need practices to get our neocortex, our big advanced and wonderful and powerful human brains to just shut up for a minute and let the rest of the world talk, through us, because it's in there. Yeah, that's a thing we could all use a little more wisdom on. And it's available for us. 3.8 billion years of wisdom on this planet. It's in every one of our cells.
Yay, thank you for reminding us and bringing us closer to our own home within ourselves and the bigger world. It feels more like home when we're connected to it all, you know, our sense of belonging and purpose. Just breathing helps the trees.
Yeah.
I want to cry, it's so special.
Well, it's wonderful to be with you. But I'm going to close this out now. So, all right. And in Nova Sutras, a lot of times we like to hug at the end of our meetings. So we just sort of reach out and hold hands a little bit. Best we can do right now. Okay.
All right. Look forward to seeing you again here soon.
Yeah.
And elsewhere.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Ubuntu and agaya to you all.